Okay, today I thought we'd talk about this I-M-2 robot. It's a Starroid, and it's was made in Hong Kong in 1977. It's radio controlled, operates on three C cells and a 9-volt battery in the robot, and then a 9-volt battery in the remote. Interesting thing about a lot of the plastics used back then, in fact even through the 80s with most of the Tomy robots, is any of the UV light, they just turn yellow. Here, anywhere the light hasn't shone, that's how white the plastic was originally. And of course there are chemical treatments you can do to make the plastic white again. If someone someday might be interested in it. You can faintly see, get the lighting right, you can see this star command, I-M-2, Starroid, Hong Kong, and this part here said, let me get to where I can see it. I can't really make it all out. Calfax something. But anyway, it's basically when you turn it on, it's going to move forward on wheels, and when you push the remote, it's going to back up and turn in reverse. That was a very popular function in the late 70s into the mid 80s. But some of the unique things is it has a continually rotating head. The arms will move back and forth, and has sequential lights in the chest. Very not mechanical either. It's all electronic, and it makes electronic sounds. So it was kind of interesting from those standpoints. You can see there is a kind of hear that? Sequential lights. I'm going to hit the remote, turning, hit the remote again. It's a very interesting looking toy too. It's kind of why I picked this one over some of the ones that get shown more on YouTube, the so-called vintage robots and stuff. I find this more interesting to look at. You won't probably see it shown too often, and I plan on showing more robots in the same style, in that they're not the rarest, they're not a Robbie, and they're not a gang of 4 or gang of 5 or whatever you may have, or any of the really rare ones. Those get shown enough. I think we need to shine the spotlight on some of these ones that are more obscure, interesting looking, and have interesting functions. Another thing to note about these, I've always noticed, is the black paint that they used on that plastic. And maybe it again has to do with the same UV that turns the plastic yellow, is always tacky and sticky on any of the ones I've ever come across. And you can also see anywhere the light hasn't shown, like you get on the bottom side of something, or you get up into the side of the neck, it's still white. So again, that enforces the fact that it has to do with UV light turning the plastic yellow. And in many cases, in the case of this one, in the toy dealer I bought it from, it sat on an upper shelf very near the fluorescent lights in his shop. And fluorescent lighting, you may or may not know, but basically it's UV light inside a tube, and the tube is coated with a phosphor which glows to make the white light that we see. The actual light that's produced by the electricity is ultraviolet. You really can't see it. What you're seeing is phosphorus glowing because of the ultraviolet. So that means a lot of ultraviolet rays escape fluorescent tube lights and turn things yellow. So again, a very cool robot from 1977, I-M-2, Starroid, made in Hong Kong. I've seen some sites that have said it was US made. No, it was a US company that sold them, but it was made in Hong Kong.